Hey everybody, welcome back to Defuse and Discuss. As always, I'm Jeff. With me, as always, the Muffin Man. Muffin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited today. We're gonna do some power rankings for Shanghai.
I mean, yeah, it's exciting. I will say, Paper X gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
think
know me.
everybody
You
who's
know me.
watched the episodes up to this point can tell where this is headed. But doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about it because there's some surprises in here for Shanghai. I think that I know I'm surprised in a lot of ways. I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
actually every single region has a surprise for maybe not EMEA, but we'll get to them when we get to.
I mean, yeah, there are a few surprises. I'll be honest. America's for me probably being the biggest.
Where's
Um,
Loud? Where's Sen?
yeah, whereas NRG
Where are the reigning champs? Where are the big money teams?
Super Team, who, when,
Um,
hello,
yeah,
what happened with
super
that?
team in esports. Let's
Yeah,
evaluate the track
yeah.
record of that,
I mean,
that concept, huh?
it's kind of crazy to me. I mean, you've got G2 and 100 Thieves.
Yeah,
100 Thieves, who up until
yeah,
recently hadn't won a match in 11 months.
yeah. Well, okay. Can we really blame them for that? It's not like it's CS where they're playing a match every 2 weeks, okay?
I mean,
This is a little
sure, but
different in Valorant. They did what? They did spend what 4 months not playing any matches at all. You can't
ah,
win matches in months that you're not playing matches. Okay,
true. But when you're
the
playing
stats
matches, you want to
there.
try to win them. And
You're
I mean, you
not
know what?
wrong.
I'll give them
That's a
credit.
good
They have been
strategy.
winning. They have
And
been winning.
well, if we look at all the teams here, they've been following that strategy, right? They finished top three in the region. They scraped through somehow to this point, and they have managed to place themselves at Shanghai. And the question is, how do all of these teams that were at the top of their regions stack up against each other, right? How do the regions compare?
I mean, I've said it many times. I'll say it again. I think this is just going to be APAC versus NA.
Now, I would have
It's
agreed with you if NA had held up their end of the bargain, okay? If they had lived up to the expectations and the standards that they set at Madrid, I would have been on that train. But now I think the conversation is a little bit more interesting. But I'll tell you what part of the conversation hasn't changed, and that's going to be our number one power ranking. I think we can both agree that the number one power ranking is is PRX. We
oh
put
yeah. I
PRX in
mean,
that position.
that's yeah. Um, Listen, it's fine with me. Say that much.
It's the easiest decision
I
we've ever
mean,
made. Look,
yeah, it's
PRX, all five of their players are in the top 10 in APAC, right?
yeah. I mean,
All
it's
five.
and listen, you know, their latest match against Gen.G, it was close maps wise, sure, but
Let's
listen,
just take a
man,
peek into those score lines a little bit.
it, there wasn't much to peek at. Paper X kind of
Yeah,
destroyed them when they had to.
yeah, they were like, oh, this is
Like,
our map pick. Bye.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think they're gonna take this. I'll be honest with you. Unless Aspis can drop 47 every single game.
Yeah, every game, right? Not just one
Yeah,
game. Because
like
he's not playing against trash cans anymore. These are the best teams in the regions. Whether or not they're still trash cans is yet to be determined, but they are at least at the top of their own regions. I'll tell you another team that kind of surprised me for being here is Dragon Ranger Gaming. They managed to beat Trace Esports, who I thought were just a shoe-in for the record that they had against the top teams, and yet Dragon Ranger Gaming. Muffin, what can you tell me about Dragon Ranger Gaming? Yeah, that's it, folks. That's all we've got for you on that
I,
subject. I mean,
I,
look, it's the worst
I
possible
mean,
time zone. for us to be
Listen,
watching. All right.
Spyro was a great game, I guess. You know. Um,
Yeah, it's
Dragons are cool. Um,
and these dragons are rangers. It's almost like Power Ranger gaming. They're dragons.
I
It's
mean,
the Power
listen,
Rangers that we have at home.
unless they pull like a Billy, I guess. I don't know anything about this team. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
don't either. And I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that they're probably going to end up in the ninth to 12th range, right? I wouldn't be surprised if they
More
make
than
it.
likely, yeah. Um, I mean, again, I'm always up for surprises, and Valorant has been nothing but that, pretty much.
Yes, right. Every time I try and predict something, it's hopeless. This is why I don't esports bet people. I watch them all, but the only one I've gotten right so far was Masters Madrid, and even then I fumbled it at the finish line. But here we are. Ever since then, it's been absolute chaos.
Yeah, I
So
mean, eh, there really isn't much to say about that team, right? Um, I guess we'll see once they get to
they're gonna
Shanghai.
show up, and we'll find out, right? Maybe the home
Yeah,
crowd advantage,
yeah.
maybe they edge out. But I think for me, the question is, out of these teams, who's gonna sit down there in that 9th, 12th spot?
Maybe a little bit of a unexpected twist. I'm gonna say Fnatic, actually.
Ooh, hot
Um,
take. And the question right now is Fnatic back, right? They just won EMEA. They beat the teams that had decent score lines. They came out of their 3-3 group and actually managed to win their region. Are they here? Are they good?
I don't think so. I mean,
You don't think so?
yay, they managed to win their region. I don't see the same team that came back down 11-3 against the home crowd
Hey, Leo's been
in Brazil.
performing for Fnatic, right? That's the bright spot on their team. The man's stat line is crazy. He's one of the best performers in EMEA. But you know who's not on that list as far as best performers in EMEA? Alfier and Durka, right? They're not at the top. So those are the guys that Fnatic is supposed to be counting on.
Yeah, I mean,
And sure, they
Alfair is the
beat their
guy
teams
who.
in.
Sorry, my mistake.
No,
Go
I was
on,
gonna say
go
sure
on.
they beat the teams in EMEA, but like the teams in EMEA were just flipping coins to determine who won their matches. It felt like, you know.
I mean, Alfair is the guy who you send into showers on bind, and he kills 3 people. That's it, man. That's that's Alpha. Like he'll just kill the whole other team,
True.
and if he doesn't do it, Turka does it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they haven't been performing lately. Just Leo doing good is not good enough to win this, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I do think, well, I mean, let's be actually true here. Fnatic can't get ninth, 12th because they won their region.
That is
So
true.
they
Yes,
actually have to
that's true.
progress
That's true.
past that.
That's
I'm gonna be
forgot
real with
about
you.
that.
I also don't think that they would advance past the Swiss stage if they were in it. But they're not. They're safe
That's
from
fair.
that. They
That's
managed
fair.
to climb to the top of their trash pile. And because of that, I would put them seventh, eighth.
I mean, realistically, if it was up to me, I'd put all the EMEA teams in 9th, 12th. I'll be
I
honest.
I
Um,
think we can kind of do that, right? I
I
think
mean,
I think let's start with Fnatic. Let's go ahead very safely say seventh, eighth, right? Because they have to finish at least
yeah,
that high.
yeah, that's true.
They can't not. But I don't think that. I don't think unless they get an EMEA matchup coming out of the Swiss, I don't think that they progress past.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the runner-up for me for EMEA would be Team Heretics, but with the
Interesting.
loss of Miniboo, kind of throws them off a little bit, of course.
Yeah. Well, Mini Boost stats in playoffs were not good.
No, they were not. But still, losing one of your players is normally kind of
Always
a
going to
big
be
hit.
disruptive,
Yeah.
right?
Still, that being said, I think they're better than Fnatic. Um, I think in Madrid they were pretty respectable. Um, I would probably rank them Hmm. You know what? I think I'm gonna say fifth, sixth for Team Heretics.
Wow, that's a hot take.
It
Because I'm going
is.
to be real with you. My mindset on Team Heretics is that they dominated their region in the kickoff, and then they showed up to Masters Madrid and they flopped on the stage. And that was in EMEA territory, okay? Not their EMEA territory, but they didn't have to fly to China missing one of their core players to play in front of a massive screaming crowd of Chinese fans on a stage as a young team, right? They've got a high ceiling. I think if they played their best, they're a fifth, sixth team. I think they're going to get grouped.
Okay, that's fair.
I think that they go out in the Swiss. I would put them in 9th, 12th.
Okay, interesting. The reason I say fifth, sixth is I'm hoping that their experience from Madrid kind of help them get a little bit more confidence. Um,
Well, I'm sure they are
hopefully,
too.
but like, listen, man, this whole split has been a bunch of upsets. I'm down for more.
I think I don't think that this is an upset that's going to happen, right? I don't think that that's a pull through that they're going to make, right?
Listen,
Because it's not like they've been tested locally, you know? And
sure,
they didn't do that well in the playoffs versus the other EMEA teams. Like they did fine, sure, but did they live up to their 4-1 record? Maybe. I don't know. It was shaky. It was
yeah,
ugly.
that's fair. All right,
And
here,
that's the
I'll
home that's the
listen.
home
All right,
crowd, man.
we can put them in ninth to 12th, but if they make it
They're gonna
past
go
ninth to 12th, you are not hearing the end of it.
That's okay.
You're
I'll buy
just
you a
not.
soda.
You're just not.
If they get out of the Swiss, then I will buy you a drink. Easy. Um, but I'm
Okay.
willing to
Okay.
take that bet. I think that they end up just at the bottom, unfortunately for them. I mean, I don't necessarily think that they finished dead last. I think that they could beat the teams in Swiss, but I do think that they get grouped.
Okay. That's respectable. I guess continuing on with the lower end of the teams, I'm gonna go with T1.
Oh, see, I knew that you were gearing up to hurt me.
So man, I know you like Saya player.
It's just the Overwatch blood
It's
in me, man.
just
I want them to be good. But the truth
it's
is
just
that
not.
they looked better with Excurate and Charge than they did with Carpe. They
I agree
managed
with
to
that.
pull some upsets in their own division. But unless Excurate and Saya player are dropping like 50 kills combined,
They're not
they're
going
not going to
anywhere.
beat anybody. I hate to say it. They're not unique enough. Their strategies aren't deep enough. They're just they've got really 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 good aimers. And you can tell when they play a map and it's like they're running jet chamber. It's like, yeah, these guys they point and click. Right? That's their job.
Yeah, but I don't think they can point and click better than the other teams there,
No, not
and
against
it's
this
their only
level, right?
strength.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of where I'm at too. I hate it. I hate it. I'd love to see them rise above, right? I want to see them do better than that, but I do think that they're battling it out in that 9th, 12th range. Like, if they get out of groups, it would be a feat.
yeah, yeah, I hard agree with that. Yeah. Um, and the last team in ninth, 12th for me is gonna have to be FPX.
Ooh, that's kind of a hot take, no? Because here's the thing, right? Where let me change this train on you a little bit. Where do you put EDG?
EDG. I mean,
In front of the
listen,
home crowd in China,
if they have Kang Kang,
tons of experience. Kang Kang. Of course, we're not in a jet meta right now. But rest in peace
mm,
to Kang Kang. But
I think I'm honestly gonna have to put EDG about third, fourth, personally.
okay, okay. Now let's consider for a second that FPX have beaten EDG 2 out of 3 meetings.
Doesn't matter.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Does not matter. Um, EDG just has more LAN experience against better teams.
True. True. I would also put EDG third, fourth. I think that that's an easy pick for me as well. I think that
Yeah.
they're right up there. I think that team. I think that's probably controversial, but I think people are going to be very surprised. Um, but I do think it's going to happen. I
Yeah,
do,
I mean,
and I'm ready to be wrong because I'm apparently always wrong in these situations. But
listen,
I think that they're going to overperform expectations.
it's in Shanghai. Their whole roster is pretty insane.
Yeah.
I don't think Kang is going to let them lose.
I mean, the biggest issue with EDG
He
is
just
just
can't.
inconsistency, right? It's like sometimes
Yeah,
their players will
yeah.
just suck. But when you're in an environment like this, the consistency kind of crawls its way to the forefront. You know, it
Hmm.
it demands to be there. Um, which is why, for me, instead of rating FPX in ninth, 12th, I would have put Leviathan.
That is a hot take.
They got
That
two
is a hot
players, bro.
take.
They've got two players. It's the same problem as T1. Yes, they have better players, but what's Lev gonna do if Aspis and King don't drop 45 kills a game,
I mean,
like per map?
we've seen Calm, Tex, and Mazzino do pretty well. I do agree they're pretty similar to T1 in the way that they kind of set their team around, I guess, right? You've got two players who are performing very well. But truth be told, I just think, you know, you look at the remaining three players for Leviathan versus the remaining three for T1. Won champs. Mazzino is just, in my opinion, better than all of T1 individually, better than all their players. And Tex is, he's the one I'm a little iffy on, I'll be honest. Um, I do think he's had a lot of impact, but I would like to see more consistency from him. It'd be pretty nice. I think it'd get him a lot further. But man, putting them that far down,
I just don't think that they can do it, man. Calm is one of the worst rated players in all of Americas, bro. He's got a point 0.8 KD and a 0.92 rating.
does that really matter though? You got Aspas on your team, man. Just throw a
That's
dart
the
for him.
point, right? Like
Yes,
he's
but it's Aspas.
heavy. He
Literally
is
the goat.
heavy.
Everybody's
I
heavy
think
to the
that
goat.
Leviathan's team is heavier than FPX. That's my
Maybe.
take. That's my mood on that.
The only reason I'd put Leviathan higher is because they have the goat. And yes, they're heavy, but again, like, you think when Simple was playing on Navi that his teammates weren't heavy? Come on.
Dude, I watched them lose a game
Like,
where Simple dropped over 40 kills.
yeah, like, if you compare it to the goat, everybody is heavy.
No,
Everybody.
they were actually heavy. They were
Yeah.
like double negative across the board.
Hey, you just told me Calm is a point 0.8 KD, so listen.
Yeah, I mean he's doing better, but like they lost that game. That's my point, right? I I don't know. I think Lev cap out at 7-8. I don't think that
I
I
think I
think
could
that you
maybe
need to
agree
be a
with
more
that. Yeah.
complete team to go fifth, sixth, right? You need more people. And here's the thing, right? It's like EDG is plagued with inconsistency, but everybody on their team can perform. But there's no record of anybody on Lev performing other than the top 2.5 people on their roster.
I mean, maybe at this point for me, it'd be more a question of like, what about a team like Foot?
I love Foot. I think
I
Foot's
mean, they're
nuts.
great.
I think they're
Um,
crazy. I
they're
think that the
crazy,
whole
sure, but
roster's
they haven't.
cracked. I think that the IGL is solid. I think that their protocols are good. They're very like it's a
Earnings
deep
check?
roster.
Earnings check, anyone? Listen, like, what have they won recently?
I'm not saying they're gonna
They're
win. They're not a
insane,
team that
but
wins.
like, but
Right?
that's what I mean. I think personally, Leviathan just has. more impact than FUT does.
Yeah, against
Like,
NA.
NA is one of the best
Against
regions right
NA.
now.
Is it? I have
You
questions. I have doubts. I watched some of those games and they were
you
horrible.
did, and I watched EMEA games
And they
last
were
year.
bad too.
They were pretty bad, yes. They were
They're all
horrible.
bad. All bad. Scrap it all. Give the title to PRX. We're done. Goodbye, everybody. It's been
I
fun.
mean,
Roll credits.
listen, I'll be honest, it's in my
Kind of how
opinion
we
what it's
feel,
gonna come
but
down to, but
the upsets are there. We just need to know who's closest.
you know what? Alright, listen,
I'll give Lev 7-8. I will give Lev 7-8.
I
I
I'll
still
I can
think
agree to that. Alright.
I still think FPX will beat them in a head to head. I would give Lev 7.
Alright,
I
that's
hope we get to see
respectable.
it.
I hope so too now. You're not gonna hear the end of that one either.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Below me 2 sodas.
Yeah, taking all the bets here,
Um,
tripling down. Okay,
speaking of
so
FUT,
we filled up the bottom of the board, right? So
we
Foot
did.
has to go above that.
I'm gonna say 3rd,
I
4th.
think third, fourth.
Listen, they are good. I just don't think they're anywhere near the level of a team like PRX.
That's higher than I was gonna rank them. I'm
Really?
hard on the Foot
Okay.
hype train. I
Interesting.
am.
Okay.
I think that they're very good, but um 100 Thieves and Gen.G both look nuts.
Listen, as much as I agree with that, and I want to respect my ex Rainbow Six competitor Cryo, he is the GOAT.
So Overwatch player Boostio, man, I'm down to see 100 Thieves do well. I think that
They've
they're
never
better.
played against a team like PRX or Gen.G. Like, almost ever. I honestly think they'd get washed.
Yeah, but I think that 100 Thieves would be fun. I would put 100 Thieves third, fourth, easy for me. The way they're playing right now, I would put them there. I think Futter a
That's
fifth,
fair.
sixth team.
If 100 Thieves keep playing the way they are now and they carry that throughout Shanghai, I can see that happening.
Well, and they're on an upward trend, right? Like they started off struggling. They've gotten better every
Sure.
series that they've played. They were dominant in the last series that they played, which was the
And
champion.
now they're gonna play at a LAN Masters.
Yeah, but they've got some kind of like grit to them, you know? They're not a flimsy team like
Well,
C9 was, where they showed up at playoffs and they just kind of crumbled. You know, they've got Boostio leading the roster. They've got a solid amount of experience in the players, even if it's not at Valorant LAN events, like you mentioned,
see,
Cryo from Rainbow Six. We've
that's what
got
I'm scared of,
past
right?
experience.
You have Boostio, who has probably the most Valorant LAN experience out of them all, but is someone like EU or Asuna still going to perform that well in that environment?
I think so, because they're not like 17-year-old kids either, right?
No, but I don't think age is
It's
really,
sometimes not a factor, right? It is
yeah,
sometimes not a
like,
factor. But
let's
I
see.
don't think
I've never
they
seen
don't
them
look
play
like
on this type of a stage
they look
before.
like a
That's all
team
I'm
that
saying.
loves pressure. You know what I'm saying? They look like they're
It's
feeding
fair.
off of it. They
I
look
mean,
like they're
I know Boostio
getting
is. He's
energized by
been
it.
he's been
Exactly.
having
And
way
when
too much
that's your
fun.
IGL, that's going to bleed into the whole roster. People aren't going to be nervous. They're going to be
Maybe,
excited. They're going to love the
maybe.
underdog story. Boostio gets to live another underdog story.
That is true. Boostio stocks are going up. That's all I'm
Hey, look,
saying. This
he's the
guy's
only
like,
EG player whose stocks are going up.
yeah.
Everybody else's
Well,
are on a hard
maybe
plummet.
Jogamo. Jogamo's been
Jogamo's
had
stat
some
line is
pretty good.
trash.
I
It's
mean,
trash. It's trash. I'm sorry.
he's had some
I
good
know you
maps.
like Jogamo.
He's had
I
some
like
good
Jogamo
maps.
on EG, but his stat line is trash. He's struggling.
Yeah, yeah,
None of
he is
them are
struggling.
performing to the level that anybody expected them to.
That's true. Um, all right, listen. Maybe 100 Thieves in third, fourth. I'll say this much. I can see FUT being 5th, 6th. I think it's pretty close though, I'll be honest.
I think that FUT have tough matchups against Fnatic and Lev.
Man, Fnatic and Lev are listen, you just spent 15 minutes saying Lev sucks,
Yeah, I
and
think
I just
Fnatic
spent
sucks
20
too,
minutes
but
saying Fnatic's
I'm pretty sure that
I
I'm
rank
pretty
them
sure
lower
that
than they're even
Fnatic
able to
won the
rank.
region that FUT is coming from.
I mean, sure, but like, listen, I literally rated Fnatic lower than they can even go.
Yeah.
That's like, listen, man, my
That's fair.
expectations for them are not high.
No, no, they're not, right? They're not. But
Truth be
that's why I
told,
think like I think that and I'm thinking about this more in a sense of like a tournament progression as well. It's like if you run into these teams, right? Like Fnatic are going to be sitting there waiting on these teams to come out of groups. And I think FUT come out of groups no problem. I think they get out of the group stage no issue. And if they run into Fnatic, Leviathan, do they win it? If they run into PRX, do they win that? No,
no,
right?
no.
Um, so they're going to come out of the groups. They're going to run into a team that won their region, right? Um, I don't think they beat any of the teams that won their region, so that's why I wouldn't place them third, fourth.
I can see
The
that. I
only
can
team
see
that I
that.
think that they beat that won their region would be Fnatic. If they came out of their stage and got up against Fnatic, I think that they would win that. But I don't think that they beat
Mm.
100 Thieves, Paper Rex, or EDG.
You know what? That's
But the
fair.
EDG match would be the fun one.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's a match that everybody has to watch, no matter
I would
how
stay out for that.
far they may go. But yeah, I would too. Okay, I think I could agree with that. Um,
All right.
which
Verdict is out, producer. FUT at 5-6. These my drops.
I mean, listen, this is kind of a no-brainer. I'll be honest.
This feels very straightforward to me. Can we just go
I
ahead
think
and
G2 goes second. I mean, I'm being serious, man. I don't know
I'm
why
looking
you're
at the
laughing.
bridge over your head right now, Muffin, because you are a troll. There is no way.
No, I'm kidding. Gen.G's gonna
You're
mop the
hard
floor.
riding the NA hype train if
This
you feel
is
that way.
nah. I think Gen.G's second. Listen, man,
Yeah.
G2's just managed to pull through. Um,
Well, Gen.G got surprised by T1 and then they turned the gas back on. And the only team that they can't seem to beat is Paper Rex. And that's where we're at, you know?
yeah,
Like,
I
and who
mean,
is going to beat Paper Rex? G2, this high though, fifth, sixth for G2. That's a dub. You know what I'm saying?
you know
Like
what?
that's a
That is pretty
W for
good for
that
them.
org.
Yeah. I will say, like, personally, I think G2 is a team that has some of the best teamwork we've seen in Americas anyway. I think it's a big reason why they managed to make it to Shanghai in the first place.
It's a large factor at a level like this too.
But you look at a team like Gen.G and like
They've got all that same teamwork, man. It's all there.
same teamwork and they have more star power, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like
I
texture,
you know, no
Munchkin,
disrespect to G2, but their
Aaron.
firepower doesn't match up,
No, it
right?
doesn't.
Like
It
it
just
just
doesn't.
doesn't
I mean,
compete.
just texture, Meteor, and Karen, in my opinion, have more individual star power than the entirety of the G2 roster.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, not to mention G2 or not G2, Gen.G has some of the best clutches in the entirety of the
yep,
league,
yep,
thanks to one of the lowest performing players in the entirety of the league.
yeah. I mean, if
The man is the definition of impact frags. Um,
I mean, in a straight fight between those two teams, if you look at them objectively, like they both have great teamwork, but I think it's really just going to come down to
I mean, I
texture
think it'd be like a
going through a
2-0, but 13
3K,
to
right?
10,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I think
Like
it's
it's going to come
like
down to Meteor, texture, Karen, just having that extra bit of individual skill going to help them
yeah,
pull
it's
out
like
multi frags in certain rounds, and it's just going to helping them
You're a
win the
good team
game.
G2, but have fun playing this 3v4.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You know, like that's how it's kind of gonna be. I think it'll be interesting to see kind of what the meta is we get to Shanghai as well, because that's something to take into account. Um, the Raze
I mean,
meta, which we've seen develop very heavily because she's by far the best duelist over everybody else, favors some teams very heavily, right?
yeah,
100
that's
Thieves, I
true.
think, have capitalized on it very well with Asuna
Oh
Raze.
yeah,
He's
I mean,
done much better on that than other agents. And EDG, Hong Kong is a Jet god, but he's not exactly a Raze gamer, you know? So
true.
it
He has
could
played a
really
bit of Gecko
hurt
though,
them.
so
That is fair. That is fair. I
I
wonder
know
if he
Gecko
plays an
is
attacker or
meta,
something.
so it's pretty similar. They both op,
Yeah.
to be honest, right? Op on Gecko.
Yuto, what's
But
that? I buy a rifle.
but yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting, right? Because think about when Chamber was meta, you had very passive duelist players who were kind of
Yeah.
the best in the world, right? You know, Ye, Demon One, even Cryo when he was playing Jet.
Hmm.
They were all at the top of their game. Now that defensive, passive duelist style doesn't really work anymore. That's why we're seeing a lot of Rays, right? Maybe a little bit more neon sometimes. It's just being in their face and actually creating that space
Raze pulls her gun out
is
faster,
just,
you
yeah,
know?
like,
That's just what it comes down to. Like, if you're going to be entering, you want to have your weapon out.
mhm.
And then there's also the factor of, like, on defense, you need to buy a $5,700 rifle for your jet to be useful.
Yeah, yeah,
Or you just need to trade her off at the beginning of the round.
mhm.
Whereas Raze has nade, she's got Roomba, she's got satchels, like she's good on
Yeah. It's just a lot
retakes,
more
she's good for
utility, right?
stall.
Like,
Her
yeah,
rocket is actually good on every round of the game, whether your eco or their eco, or it's guns or we're broke. Like it's just,
there's
and
just a lot more
that's going
value
to
to
affect
it.
a lot of these teams.
Yeah. And I do think that's actually a reason why Austin has been performing very well
Hmm.
lately. Um, I mean, he's a good race player.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
for sure.
shown as much in their latest matches.
Oh, it's been shown to be a necessity, right? And I think
Yeah,
that when we
yeah,
see the teams that are doing well, it's very obvious. It's like, oh, well, they're doing well on Raze maps with somebody on Raze who plays Raze. You know, it's like PRX pick Jing back up and look at where they're at. They're
I mean, listen,
just
that's Jing. I mean,
hard rolling people, right? And well, that's my point, though. You know, like he is that guy. And when Auspis dropped 47 kills, it wasn't on Jet. It
that's
was
true.
on Raze.
Yeah.
You know, which isn't the agent that you would expect that to be happening on.
Who would have
It
thought
is
having
how it's
four
working.
abilities that can kill is gonna help you get kills?
I know.
Incredible. Dude,
Yeah, well.
accuracy matters, by the way. Project A.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, this is an interesting lineup in my opinion for Shanghai because after the first, second, maybe third, fourth teams, I think there's a huge drop.
That I
Like,
agree with that, and I actually think that was kind of gonna be my point at the end of this. Is it's like everything past the top four to me is like a bag of popcorn. You could just shake it and see what falls out. You know,
mhm, it's
I don't know. Like any one of these teams, I
yeah,
legitimately think that FPX and T1 could beat FUT and G2. Will they?
yeah. I mean,
Probably not, but I think they could. You
all
know,
those
the only one
teams
that I'm
from
not sure about is DRG.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I kind of agree, right? All those teams from fifth, sixth to ninth, 12th. Honestly, even EDG and 100 Thieves, if they have a really bad showing,
Or get a
all of
bad
those
matchup.
teams, it could be mixed matched. Anybody could really land anywhere.
Hmm.
But against Gen.G Paper X, listen, man, enjoy Shanghai while you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys will
It's
be there a long time.
yeah, like it's. I think it's probably one of the first big tournaments we've had in Valorant where there is such a big skill gap between the teams, in my
I think
opinion, at
one
least.
thing That's also really interesting to consider, though, is that, I mean, we've got a week before this happens, right? All these teams are going to be traveling over to China. They're going to be practicing there early because they don't want their players to be jet lagged. They want them to be settled in. They want to be comfortable. They want to have their personal comforts in their setup, in their room, whatever, right? They want to be very well acclimated to the environment. No weird sleep schedules, none of that. Which means they're going to be practicing against APAC and China teams because that's where they're at, right? And when you think about, okay, well, if you're an APAC or China team, or you're a traveling team, you're trying to practice against APAC and China teams, well, who are you going to be playing against? Who are you going to practice against? You're going to be practicing against the guys that just didn't quite make it. You're going to be practicing against Zeta Division, against DRX, right? Trace Esports in there
True.
as well. But like DRX is going to be a practice partner for anybody who thinks that they've got a good run. And yes, that means
Oh yeah, for
PRX and
sure.
Gen.G, right? Like
Yeah.
PRX and Gen.G will
Yeah.
probably hog the shit out of them. But also EDG, 100 Thieves, the teams that won their regions, those are going to be the guys that DRX even bothers to play.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's a factor, and that'll prepare the incoming teams like Fnatic and Lev and whatnot a lot for what they're going to experience in a region at a time in Valorant when I think APAC is probably just ahead of the curve ways in terms of teamwork or strategy, combination of both, raw star power even. They just kind of have all the right pieces at this moment in Valorant. So yeah, it's going to be amazing practice for the teams that actually made it here from other regions. Huge growth experience for guys like G2 and 100 Thieves as well. When was the last time they got to travel internationally to a LAN and get good practice overseas?
True. Yeah. Very true. Um, you're not wrong. I mean, who knows? It might end up being huge for them.
Or they could end up like Loud and Sentinels.
Yeah. Hey, listen, they Loud and Sentinels won a lot of stuff, and then they disappeared. If 100 Thieves disappears again, I'm like, all right, well, some things never change, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I think at this point, all we know is that we don't know anything, right?
yeah,
We can
yeah,
sit here and
true.
speculate all day. The game is going to be played in the server, and these players are going to continue to surprise us day in and day out. Um,
That's true.
I think PRX and Gen.G are safe bets, but we'll see what happens at Shanghai. There's no telling. Gen.G have to get through the Swiss stage, same as a lot of these other guys, and Paper X are going to probably murder some poor people unlucky enough to draw them in the first round. But hey, there's a lower bracket, right? So
True. Yeah.
there's huge potential there too. There've been some crazy lower bracket runs in esports. I don't think Valorant has had a storied lower bracket run yet, but um, that's not out of the question. If a team has the right stuff, they just need some time to warm up. It's definitely a doable thing. So I'm excited to see this tournament. I hate that it's the worst time zone for me, but
Yeah, it's gonna be a
hey,
little
I'm really
rough,
hyped
but
to see it. Yeah. So just watch a lot of VODs. Be good VODs
yeah,
to watch. That's for sure.
yeah.
We'll be studying this up
Gonna be watching a lot of
for
YouTube
sure.
highlight videos of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wake up in the morning with it on. But
Yeah.
anyways, thank you, Muffin, for being here. As always, it's been a blast. That's all we've got time for, guys. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what your power ranking would be for the Shanghai Masters, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.